103.8.
It's coming up to 19 minutes past 2, all about your health on the show this afternoon. We are going to be joined just after 2:30 by a consultant orthopaedic surgeon. We have got Dr. Usama with us. He is an expert when it comes to sports medicine and traumatology. So if you were looking for an expert second opinion, we are going to be talking about why our joints generally do get weaker as we get older, and looking at hips in particular. So do by all means get in touch.
Healthy habits.
On Afternoons with Helen Farmer.
In the hot seat now, though, is Keith O'Malley-Farrell. He is an injury rehab specialist, co-founder there at the physical training company and alifeofeducation.com. We've had a message here from Tahir. Keith saying, I'm 38 years old, regularly going to the gym. How can I avoid hip injuries at workout? What are some of the kind of common triggers or technique issues that can cause injuries in the hip area?
Oh, there's a few questions there. In the gym, the speed and the environment is pretty controlled. So unless you're dealing with a really chronically weak hip area, there shouldn't be much that should cause injury. If you're doing things like, box jumps, jumping down, jumping up, jumping around, you start to edge a little bit closer towards maybe having an issue in your hip. What you would need to do to actually train the hip area is just incorporate a ton of rotational exercises, a ton of glute work, but also through rotation, and then get your core strong above the pelvis to offload whatever kind of tension is happening in the hip.
Now, we're talking about kind of exercising as we age, and I'm not talking about elderly. I'm really talking about 30s, 40s, 50s. What's the demographic like in the gym? Who's coming through the doors for classes and for one-on-ones?
At our place, we have a bit of everybody. We have the young people coming in and just wanting to get that, that mental health fix, coming down, just doing whatever they can. And then we have a lot of older people in their 40s and 50s who, again, they just want to, like you're talking about, just prolong the aging. We have a nice little community of people who just come down and hang out with each other. There's all sorts of goals. As you know, we're climbing a lot of mountains.
Climbing a lot of mountains. We've got one in the diary. We'll be there in a month's time. We'll be in Georgia.
Have you spoken about it yet?
No, I have not. I'm climbing another mountain. I need to shift this cold first. I need to get full wisdom teeth out in the meantime. But we are going to be climbing the tallest mountain in Georgia called Kazbek.
Yeah.
It is called Kazbek, isn't it? Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. But I think those goals are really important. Think about when we climbed Kilimanjaro, the age range on that trip, we had Destiny, who was, 19? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Mal won't mind us saying how old he is.
He's 62.
Is he? He looks good for
He's 63 now.
Yeah, see,
he's doing it again.
See, this is the thing. I think it is about those goals and not having a kind of defeatist attitude as you get older. And perhaps what I might be inclined to do would be like, oh, well, I'm done now. I'm just going to go and, sit down and read a book until I die. Because there are things in our control to avoid pain, prevent injury, and have those connections with people and ourselves. Dubai's population is getting older, and I'm hoping we're going to be seeing more and more specialists, whether that is menopause doctors, people looking to help people get into exercise for the first time or after a long time. You actually posted a video earlier this week, which I thought was really excellent, which is just talking about how it doesn't need to be full throttle beast mode 100% in the gym. Sometimes it's just about doing something. Why did you feel like that was something that needed to be said?
I just had a conversation on 2 or 3 occasions recently with different people, and they're talking about how they are all 100%. When they get going, they get going. I'm like, listen, as you get older, your goal shouldn't be about remembering what you did at 25. When you're trying to factor in a reintroduction of a training regime, basically, I need to get back into the gym. What do I do? Well, figure out how to fit 3 sessions a week into your non-exercising daily life. So don't worry about what happens when you get down there. Mm-hmm. Just come down. You'll dust the cobwebs off. You'll do a little bit. You'll feel good. But the first goal is just, right, how do I fit this into the 23 hours of my day here, say 2 days later? How do I figure out what to do with the kids, what to do with my diet, when to go to bed, when to not watch that episode of Netflix show, and go to bed. And let that be the week's plan. Mm-hmm. After that, the gym stuff, you'll start to get a feel for what you're doing. And that goal will actually, the first few steps, that'll actually set itself out. Because you go, oh, well, if I can do this 5 kilo thing, whatever, maybe I'll try 6, but I'll give it a couple of weeks. That takes care of itself.
Mm-hmm. Those little wins adding up. You mentioned nutrition there. So as we are aging and we are talking about future-proofing bones in particular, is there anything that's been proven to really help with that, either prolonging or avoiding pain or really kind of boosting that?
Obviously the healthy diet, conversation is a factor here, but the two main things you're looking at are calcium, and then behind calcium, you need to make sure you're looking after your vitamin D. Vitamin D is a massively, it control or helps the absorption of the calcium into the cell. So it helps the calcium get from outside into the cell where it needs to do what it needs to do. And obviously in Dubai, we have great sun, but half the year we stay indoors. And as you mentioned earlier, 50% of women suffer from fractures. In Dubai, in this part of the world, lots of women are covered. So their skin is not exposed to the sun most of the day. Yeah. So you got to look at your vitamin D supplementation.
So this is obviously to be done under the supervision of a doctor, but it is that kind of looking at that 360 approach, I guess. And what about the importance of a healthy weight? Because when I think about joints and the impact on those joints, and maybe we don't look at osteoporosis specific to here, maybe it's just about the importance of having a good BMI all the way through your life. What impact does even a small weight gain have on those joints?
If you're heavier in your younger life, you're going to actually be carrying more load day to day. Your bone density is going to be a little bit more dense than a small, petite female of the same age. So if you're gaining weight later in life, that becomes more of a problem than if you're heavy as you're younger. Because heavy as you're younger, you're starting with a higher baseline of bone density. So you're actually probably going to be in good shape from a bone density perspective, unless your hormones are so out of whack that you got a hormonal issue, and then you're stepping further down the problematic line for your osteoporosis. But for people gaining weight, like obviously gaining weight is bad in a bunch of things. You may obviously put more weight through your bones. You're going to potentially, again, what else is going on? There's more at play than just like weight equals bone density reduction. There's a ton of other factors that are going to upset your healthy system. So you may end up with some, extra fractures if you fall when you're older, but it's too hard to know what was the cause of that one.
What about you personally? What are you thinking in terms of exercise and activity? You're not 40 yet, but as you get into that decade.
I just want to keep going. I mean, I'm happy now being like at the back of the group, whether we're hiking, whether we're running, whether we're cycling, whatever it is. I'm not looking to be at the top, because I want to be able to do stuff again tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to do stuff the next day. I don't want to look at the group I'm with and have to absolutely push to the front and then be broken for the rest of the day and not be able to function the day after. So for me, knowing kind of heart rate zones, knowing intensity, I know my own intensity level. So I just like to be able to do stuff really, really frequently and just keep that consistency. That's really what it is. So
we've spoken this on in the show before, Keith, about kind of gym anxiety and people being nervous about going into the gym for the first time, especially if it's a class environment where people look like they know what they're doing, and, you'll go in and you're like, okay, I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what those things on the board mean. I've never met these people before. What would you advise to anyone that's listening today who is obviously listening to what we're talking about, and there's a wealth of information right now, as you're saying, thousands of reasons why you should be exercising, but can't make that mental leap between knowing rationally that this is a good idea and actually putting on their trainers and getting into a class or booking a private session? Is it ever too late to start exercising?
No, it's definitely not. The intensity that you want to exercise is going to be determined by kind of how late you're leaving it or what stage you're at when you're starting. You can go outdoors, you can do the outdoor stuff, that's always there. You can find a group of supportive friends. But if you're going to go to a class, if it's like a class is specifically the thing you want to do, just know that there are coaches out there who understand exactly what you're about to go through. Like, they know you're going to have anxiety, they know you're going to be nervous, they know you're going to be looking like everyone in the class has 10 heads. So find those people, find those coaches, look around. Like Instagram, it's all visual now. Look on Instagram. Find the group that you feel will be your team, people. Yeah, your gang, and then just go knock on their door but be very honest with the coaches, with the staff. Listen, I'm really nervous. Like, don't be afraid to say that. They're expecting that. In some portion of the population who've never done this before, we're expecting you to be. I'm terrified in a yoga class. I'm terrified in a Pilates class. It's not my jam, But so, like, don't be afraid to just speak up and go, I don't know what I'm doing. And
then I guess equally, if it comes to finding a personal trainer, don't be afraid to find someone else. Like, that personality match has to be there. It has to be someone that you are happy to be pushed by, but someone that you're happy to be vulnerable in front of and say you're nervous. Because, unfortunately, there are some trainers here who perhaps haven't got the qualifications that they should have, or the emotional intelligence that might be needed a lot of the times. And yeah, that personality, it has to be someone you want to, be happy to see maybe 2 or 3 times a week. Right, back to training. What's your training regime for Georgia? What's going on?
Just not to be too tagging, just doing a lot of zone 2 stuff, just keeping the heart rate down, adding time.
What does that mean?
It means kind of being in the amber zone, not the red zone of intensity, and then just trying to stretch that over time, trying to do 2 hours, 3 hours. The main thing is that when I finish, I'm not destroyed, and I can do exactly that again the next day if I wished.
A question here saying, can you please share details on rehab sessions? I guess rehab sessions is probably it's a whole mix of things, but in terms of what you're offering yourself and down at the gym, how do you describe that?
I mean, we have a bunch of different services at our place, but the main thing is just get in touch with us. We can have a chat on the phone, figure out what the issue is, and if you are gym ready, if it's something that we can deal with in the gym, we'll get in and start with some basic stuff. Oftentimes somebody's a bit more severe where actually there's a step we need to go to beforehand. You see a doctor, you see a physio, whoever it is. All right,
I hope that helps. And if you do want details of the physical training company, they do have some free sessions for new gym goers. Be happy to share that if you message me on 4001. We are staying with bone health. I'm going to be joined in the studio next by Dr. Usama, consultant orthopedic surgeon. And we're going to be talking about hips, joints in particular. He's an expert when it comes to arthroscopic surgeries. I should be able to say that because I have had one. So this is your chance to get any answers that you need on the medical front. 4001 is the SMS. Keith Farrell, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. And we'll catch up with you very soon. Heading over now to get your headlines. And then we're talking hips on Dubai Eye 103.8.
Your ARN News.
With Etihad Airways.
Good afternoon, I'm Noni Edwards. The UAE's hospitality sector is expecting the strong start to the year to continue into the summer. Authorities in Beijing say they're in a race against time to contain a COVID surge, and the role of artificial intelligence in a sustainable future has been explored at Dubai's Museum of the Future. I'll be back in half an hour with those details, or in the meantime you can check the ARN News Centre app.
The markets on Dubai Eye 103.8.
With Dubai Islamic Bank Business Banking. Open a DIB rewards account and make your business rewarding every day. # ready for business.
Just a moment ago, the Dubai Financial Market General Index was trading at 3,287 points. That's even. Market indicator Emaar Properties was valued at 5 dirhams 44 fils per unit, down 0.54%. The top gainer was Emirates Refreshment Company at 3 dirhams 48 fils per share, up 14.85%. The Bitcoin Company was the top loser at 23 dirhams and 75 fils, down 14.87%.
And it's Brandy Scold of the Business Breakfast. These are your top business stories. Business headlines.
With DP World, the global logistics provider, making the flow of trade smarter, faster and more sustainable. Log on to dpworld.ae to learn more.
The UAE could overtake the US and the UK this year to become the world's top destination for millionaire immigrants. That's according to a new report from Henley that tracks international private wealth migration. It expects 4,000 high net worth individuals to have moved to the Emirates by the end of this year.
Abu Dhabi investment company ADQ plans to buy Turkish medical syringe company Birgimetha Group. The deal still needs regulatory approvals.
DP World set to operate a logistics park in Jeddah, according to Reuters. It already operates Jeddah Islamic Park, where the logistics operations set to be based.
Dubai Chamber of Commerce member companies, exports and re-exports, rising 28% in the month of May. That's the highest level in nearly 4 years.
The UK economy shrank by more than widely expected last month, contracting 0.3% in April.
Meanwhile, Americans feel worse about their economy than at any time since the 1970s. That's according to a consumer sentiment index from the University of Michigan. It's fallen to an all-time low of 50 points.
And those are the business headlines. We'll be back tomorrow live from 6 a.m. on Dubai One Television and your radio, Dubai Eye 103.8 FM.
Stories that make you smile.
With First Abu Dhabi Bank.
Feeling hot today? Here's a cool story. An Olympic skier has broken a Guinness World Record in Sweden for completing a 154-metre rail grind on skis. Jesper Jada strapped on his skis at the Ski Star Resort and hopped up onto the rail while travelling downhill. After grinding the rail, Jada jumped back down onto the snow and continued down the slope. Jada's a freestyle skier who competed on the Swedish team at the last 3 consecutive Winter Olympics.
Here's another reason to make you smile with the first Abu Dhabi Bank Travel Card. Enjoy endless choices across airlines and hotels with the Fab Travel Card. Apply now on the Fab mobile app. More of Afternoons with Helen Farmer is coming up next.
On the UAE's #1 talk radio station, Dubai Eye 103.8.
Live in luxury. Powered by Igloo Ice Cream. Little luxuries are the coolest thing this summer. And you don't get cooler than Igloo. Igloo Ice Cream's new Rosetta range is deliciously divine. With flavours like Mango Tango, Golden Ribbon and Raspberry Ripple. Make your little moment sweeter this summer. Try Igloo Rosetta today. Igloo. Ice cream fun for everyone. The UAE's #1 ice cream brand.
Do you have big business dreams? Then you need Zoho CRM to stay on top of your contacts, leads, customers and deals without missing a single detail. Zoho CRM is the same world-class technology that large enterprises use, now available for all businesses. Whether you're a service provider or a product-based business, it's easy to customize Zoho CRM. Our customer support experts are available 24/7. Call us today at 800 Zoho and experience the amazing difference Zoho CRM can make for your business.
Over 40? For you, the risk of colorectal cancer increases every day, but it's in your hands to prevent it with early screening. Sheikh Boot Medical City, in partnership with Mayo Clinic, has a team of experts applying a unique artificial intelligence technology to detect colorectal cancer before it develops. To book your consultation, visit preventit.ssmc.ae or call 800-50. Sheikh Boot Medical City. The power of care.
Are you investing in your future? Do you need easily accessible investment themes, including ESG investing, biotech, commodity ETFs, and bubble stocks? Saxo Investor is the new app built by Saxo Bank, the European bank you can trust. It's smart, simple, and packed with ideas to start your investing across stocks, funds, ETFs, cryptocurrencies, and more. Saxo Investor. Investing made simple, finally. Visit saxoinvestor.ae. Saxo Bank is licensed in UAE by the UAE Central Bank as representative office.
With every business quarter and new targets to achieve, some parts of business are hard to predict.
Except sales.
Sales?
Absolutely. When you understand your sales funnel, quality marketing and lead generation, you can drive sales. That's why I use Nexa.
Predictable sales in unpredictable times? Tell me more.
They're an established marketing agency who use technology to identify the hottest leads and help you to convert them.
Sounds interesting. What's their website?
Catch them at growthbynexa.com.
This is Afternoons with Helen Farmer on Dubai Eye 103.8.
With King's College Hospital London in Dubai, bringing the best of British healthcare to the UAE.
Helen Farmer with you. It is 2:36 and we're talking about those bones, those hip, those knee, those ankle, and making sure they're staying in the best possible shape as we get older.
Healthy habits.
On Afternoons with Helen Farmer.
So as many of you know, we do get more brittle in our bones as we age, and hip joint is one of the key areas that so many people suffer with. So if you do have any questions, this is your chance. Joining us from Adam Patel Hospital is Dr. Usama Abdullah, a consultant orthopaedic surgeon. He specialises in sports medicine, traumatology and arthropic. I keep on saying this wrong, doctor, and I've had one myself, arthropic surgeries of the hip joint, knee and shoulder. Yeah, just showing you my knee scars before. So if you do have any questions for Dr. Usama, please do get in touch. We've already had a number on the medical side. 4001 is the SMS. You've got your ARN Play app. And on the WhatsApp, you can send photos, which can actually be really, really useful. It's 04871 5500. We were just in conversation there with Keith and Mally Farrell, rehab specialist. And I'd love to know from a medical point of view, doctor, can you explain, and for us who are not in possession of decades of experience, why do our joints generally get weaker the older we get?
First, good afternoon. And now we are talking more about the young people, and we call it arthroscopy. So joints are a compound of many organs, if we can call it. We have the joint, which is surrounded internally by what we call the cartilage, which is a very thin layer of a tissue, and all of these joints are also surrounded by many ligaments, and also we have a lot of muscles and tendons around these joints. All of these pieces or organs or anatomical points can be sick by one or another reason. Mm-hmm. It can be traumas, it can be aging, it can be overuse, many other things.
So we've just been talking about how to kind of help, how we can really kind of assist our bodies as we get older, and perhaps how exercise can be a real way of making sure our bones stay as healthy and as pain-free as possible. I wanted to ask a little bit about supplementation. Is there anything you tend to recommend for everybody when it comes to, I have no idea, collagen or bone broth, or Keith there was just talking about calcium and vitamin D. What do you tend to recommend that we all start to incorporate?
I'll just I agree with my earlier colleague. We have been talking about the calcium and vitamin D as the main things when we are talking about bone, cartilage. I'm one of them that I don't give supplements if we don't need these subjects, or we don't need these elements or factors. When we are getting older, or women when they are having problems with their hormones, maybe it should be given because they already just starting to have some. They need these factors. But in general, as young people or athletes or up to 50 years age, I don't think that we have to put anything extra.
When it comes to the text line, we've had a number of messages here. If you do want to pick the brains of Dr. Usama, please do get in touch. Mo says, when do you know it's time for a hip replacement? Asking for my father, who's 77. I just said to you off air, my father-in-law is having his second hip replacement today, this afternoon. So when you have someone coming into clinic and they might be complaining of hip pain, what are some of the questions you are asking in order to determine whether it's time to do a replacement?
First, we wish your father-in-law good luck.
Thank you very much.
Second, I think pain and limitation of movements, and again, limitation of our activities, daily activities. It's one of the reasons that bringing our patients to our clinics. Of course, not every hip should be operated, and not every operation should be hip replacement. There's a lot of other things should be done before. But of course, if we are going to talk directly about replacements, so it's the hip joint that already is degenerated, and we already used all other measures of conservative treatment, if we can call it like this, by pain management and physiotherapy and maybe injections. Still having these problems with degenerative changes confirmed on X-rays or other investigations, so it's time for this kind of procedure.
So when pains and when all other options have been kind of exhausted and the pain is really impacting your life, because, I've seen it, I saw it in my own grandparents, when you have a hip fracture, tragically in older people, you are less likely to recover. It's not often the fracture that kills them. It's the fact that they become more prone to other problems when you're immobile, urinary tract infections, chest infections, blood clots, just generally being less well. So I think a big part of it, and I'm sure something that you must have to think about all the time, is preempting it and making sure you're doing it at the right time so they're strong enough to recover and strong enough. Like my father-in-law, the first time round, came here for Christmas with his sheets of paper with his physio on, and he was there in our hallway, walking up and down and doing his calf raises on our front step and things like that. So, it must be an interesting one. So tell us a little bit about the kind of age range that you treat when it comes to some hip issues, Doctor.
If we are going to the difference between these diseases and aging, there is, of course, if we're talking about the hip joint exactly, especially, and talking about the causes of the pain in the hip joint, we have diseases that can come during the childhood, and problems can come there around the athletic age, teenaging, and above of that. We have a lot of other diseases, systematic diseases can cause hip problem. We have a lot of, for example, diseases spine problems can also radiate with pain to hip areas. Again, if we talk about overloading conditions, trauma, you just mentioned something about fracture. When we are getting older, so again, osteoarthritis and degeneration, all fractures can be some of the other reasons for this problem.
So what is an impingement of the hip, Dr. Osama?
The hip joint is it's compound of two parts of bone. The head of the femur, what we call femur head, and the socket, which we call a sternum. When these two surfaces are impinging against each other because of any kind of bulging or problem with the shape of the head of the femur, it can cause this problem. So it is two surfaces are hitting each other, and between two surfaces there is always cartilages and labrum and other ligaments that can also cause pain.
So can I ask then about treatments that can be used to kind of rectify the problem? We've talked about replacements there, but what are some of the steps that you might have to think about before you go under the knife, so to speak?
As always, I say the knife is the last solution in these patients. First, we have to know what is the problem exactly, how did that problem started. These patients with hip impingement problem, they have radiologic changes on their x-rays. That doesn't mean that we have to go directly to the surgery, because these changes have been there all the time, but because of the increasing of the problem and changes, it's therefore they are having these problems. One of the changes, one of the changes, what we call labrum tear, which is a special thin edge sitting on the tip of the acetabulum that can come between the head and the acetabulum or the cup that can be torn. If we have what we call this labrum problem, so we have to go to in this case, we have actually to go to surgery, but all other cases, we should start with all other possibility, which is anti-inflammatory medication, physiotherapy, changing of lifestyle, changing of our training way if we are overloading this joint or something like that.
I want to squeeze in one message that's come in from Caitlin saying, I have osteoarthritis and long COVID, which affected my lungs and bowels and bladder. Oh my goodness, we're talking about breath after 3 o'clock today, so I think we're going to have a few questions about long COVID, Caitlin. Saying, I've noticed over the last month I couldn't lie on my side to sleep. Then on Saturday I had the most awful searing pain through my hip, across my back and down my leg to my knee. I've hardly slept since. Can't find a comfortable place to sit or lie down. It takes my breath away. I can hardly speak when it's flaring up. I've been putting ice on it, which helps, but it's difficult with the inability to rest. Can I go straight to an ortho doctor, or do I need a referral? What could it be? What comes to mind upon hearing poor Caitlin's pain there?
Actually, if you have definitely to go to orthopedic surgeon. Of course, we are in Dubai. It depends on your insurance, but I guess you can just you can call any hospital and ask about your insurance coverage and just consult orthopedic surgeon. Of course, you need physical examination and you need some x-rays to address your problem.
Doctor, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for the good vibes. My father-in-law, Farmer, is currently, I think, about to be wheeled into theatre. But it does. I mean, I have to say, when he had his first hip replacement, it was like that scene at the beginning of, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, seeing Grandpa Joe just leap out of bed and going from an old man to a young man. It really was a life-changing procedure. It really was. It took about 15 years off him, and unfortunately he has been a little bit unwell between his first and his second replacement. But great to have experts such as yourself in the region, and a real expert when it comes to the hip joints in particular. And if you do want Dr. Usama's details, you can find him at Adam Batal Hospital, or you can message me on 4001. We'll be very happy to share how to get in touch. Doctor, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. As I said, we are talking about breath after 3 o'clock today. Might sound a bit silly, but are you doing it right? We've got Johnny Nash and finding out more.
I can see